Our speaker this morning is Philip Kim. Philip is a four-year boarding student from Seoul, South Korea. He's a member of the varsity football and boys basketball teams, head prefect, a member of the Student Philanthropy Council, a sixth form SGA representative, and he's also the proud roommate of David Jordan. Philip.
Not stink up this field. These were the words said by the football team just before the opening kickoff of the inaugural game on Madden Stadium. For those that don't remember, the events that ensued would not live up to those words of motivation. We started the game on defense, and we had started the game off strong with 3 straight stops. We had every momentum on our side as we had forced them on their first drive. As I got ready as the anti-gunner for punt return, I looked over at the bleachers, and I saw mounds of alumni, family, and students packed all the way to the last row. As the ball was punted high into the air, it fell short from the returner and started rolling. Without understanding the rules of punt return, I was embarrassingly pushed onto the ball, essentially fumbling the football, giving possession back to the other team. This halted every ounce of momentum that we had garnered and gave it all away to the opposing team. This spiraled and ended up in a devastating defeat. This is my most embarrassing moment at Hill. I remember distinctly that night, rightfully shouldering on all the blame and already feeling the shame that would ensue the following day. Despite all the weekends, Rammies, form retreats, weekend leaves, positive grade reports, and college acceptances, 30 years down the line, what I will remember aren't those great memories, but that one truly embarrassing moment that my Hill experience dwindles down to. The moment that perpetuated the idea that I was out of here and that I didn't belong. Although American football is embedded into American culture, coming from South Korea, I felt like a stranger to the sport. Before getting to Hill, the totality of American football had been dumbed down to throwing a pigskin and throwing whatever touchdowns were. This realization reminds me the cultural differences inherent in moving to another country. Even with an American passport and speaking English fluently from a young age, I struggled to find a sense of belonging. I remember my first week here. I inadvertently bowed to a teacher as a gesture of saying goodbye, eliciting a slight. Other times, I was asked the question, North or South Korea, which I obviously took lightheartedly, but still left lingering thoughts and feelings. This was parallel to the sense of ostracism I faced in Korea as well. My friends back home would call me whitewashed or no longer even Korean. The truth was, after spending extended periods of time adapting and changing to fit one environment, I was thrust back into what felt like uncharted territory. Whether it was stuttering to speak Korean or failing to open a window with a window crank and hill rest, home was a distant word for both places. This dichotomy of being stuck in between two cultures persisted a feeling of disconnect from people in general. Perpetuated by that first embarrassing moment, and past the facade of blending in, at times I felt out of place here, and truthfully found it hard. At Hill, for most, it's hard. You don't get to hide from disappointment, anger, fear, or embarrassment. You're forced to live with it and move on. The shield that my parents used to put up to protect me from my own emotions has been ripped open by Hill and all the difficult moments it's made me face. These moments make Hill hard. It's hard getting a 60% on an E&M test. It's hard winning only 2 of the last 18 football games. It's hard getting turned away by your early college choice. And it's hard when one of your closest friends of 4 years is asked to withdraw. Yet, I'm grateful. It's a microcosm of life, filled with not only triumphs, but also all the letdowns. Hill isn't an easy place. It makes you face adversity and failure. This place isn't perfect by any means, but it doesn't pretend to be. It's real, and it prepares you for the real world that isn't any easier, where mistakes happen and where identity is complex. As a result, I'm grateful as this place has given me much adversity, but also taught me how to face it. I learned to rely on my friends and talk more openly with my parents. It's easy to believe that your experiences are unique to you, but adversity often teaches us that we are not alone in our problems. Even if others may not understand your situation exactly, they have faced adversity too and can provide a unique perspective. Opening up to friends and family does not make you weak. It builds bridges whilst facing adversity together. Strength isn't just about enduring hardships by yourself, but also about learning to trust others to help shoulder the weight when it feels too heavy. Furthermore, although it is a little cliche, I learned that strength doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from facing it. I see it in all my friends too, whether it's coming back from a torn labrum, actually mono, or becoming the SGA president after leading the school in demerits third form year. Hill forces you to feel uncomfortable, but it forces you to grow. You're never gonna fit in perfectly anywhere, and you're never gonna feel at home anywhere right away. But when you show up as you are and learn to grow from the mistakes that are inevitable, you can make anyone your home and anyone your family. Those early moments of feeling out of place, of being caught between two worlds, have shaped who I am. Coming from a foreign city, 11,054.58 kilometers, not miles, away, I've learned that identity isn't about choosing one side or the other. It's about learning how to choose both. Humans are dynamic creatures, changing and growing through every new experience. Sometimes parts of yourself will intersect or contradict one another, but it's about integrating all of your experiences to shape who you are. This community has shaped who I am and has shown me that everyone has their own battles. We all have moments we'd rather forget. Embarrassing losses, academic setbacks, personal doubts. But those moments don't define us. At the same time, they become a part of who we are. The experience up an amalgamation of a person. The culmination of all experiences, both good and bad. Circling back to what actually happened the day after the fumbled punt return. I woke up the next morning dreading to walk across campus. The shame was heavy, and I braced myself for the whispers and all the over-the-shoulder glances. But they never came. People greeted me like they always did, went on the usual Target trip, ordered DoorDash outside the delivery hours, and went to throw water balloons at each other. Essentially, life moved on, and Hill was its normal Hill. Yes, there obviously were a couple jokes about poison that does occasionally still come up. But on the day that I felt would be the end of me, had barely registered itself for others. For me, it was the essence of embarrassment. But for others, it was just a game. Just a mistake, one of many that come and go. That day I learned something. Life moves on, and people do too. We tend to inflate our own mistakes in our minds, convinced that the world is watching and judging. The reality is, we're all too busy dealing with our own challenges to dwell on someone else's fumbled punt. In that realization, there's freedom. Freedom to fail, to mess up, to be embarrassed, and to still know that it doesn't define us. Freedom to try again, knowing that one mistake, no matter how big it might feel in the moment, won't stop the world from turning. It's not about avoiding these moments, it's about embracing them, learning from them, and letting them shape us into the people we really are. Hill isn't perfect, and neither are we. But in its imperfections, it offers something real. It gives us the space to face our failures head on, to confront our insecurities, and to grow from them. It shows us that belonging isn't about erasing our differences or hiding our flaws, It's about showing up as we are and finding our place through the messiness of it all. So, to anyone who's ever felt out of place, who's carried the weight of a mistake, who's questioned whether they belong, you're not alone. Lean on another. We're all stumbling through, learning as we go. And maybe that's what makes this place feel like the home away from home. Not because it's easy or comfortable, but because it's real. Thank you.